Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the New York City Council hearing on the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection. At this time, please silence all electronics and do not approach the dais. I repeat, please do not approach the dais. If you are signing up to testify or have any other questions or concerns, please contact the Sergeant at Arms. Thank you for your cooperation. Chair Menon, you may begin.
Good morning. My name is Julie Menon, and I'm chair of the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection, and I really want to welcome everyone today to this very important hearing on introduction number 1391 in relation to the establishment of compensation and training standards for security guards, sponsored by Speaker Adams and Councilmember Hudson. New York City has a unique threat landscape due to its population density, its high traffic, and its global profile. Security guards play an absolutely critical role as the first line of defense against these threats in many of our public spaces. As active shooter incidents become, unfortunately, increasingly frequent, the job of security officers is both more important as well as more dangerous than ever. On July 28th, unarmed security guard Alan Etienne was killed in a shooting at the Midtown office building while he was working. I know that we have some of his family members here, and I want to ask that we observe a moment of silence for him and the other victims of the shooting. Thank you. In this context of heightened risk, it is so important that security guards be consistent and reliable. However, employee turnover in the New York City security industry has risen over time and is much higher than in the private sector generally. In addition to retaining experienced security personnel, it is vital that security guards in New York City are properly trained to respond to evolving threats and the evolving landscape that exists vis-a-vis security. Without adequate training, security guards may lack the judgment needed to make critical decisions. Introduction number 1391 would direct the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection to establish and enforce minimum wage, paid sick leave, paid vacation leave, benefits, and training requirements for security guards and security guard employers. It would establish a Department of Security and a security guard advocate right within DCWP to educate security guard employers and workers about their obligations and their rights. It would develop a system to assist covered security guards to submit complaints regarding potential violations. It would track the status and outcome of such complaints and coordinate with appropriate stakeholders regarding issues affecting the security workforce. This is simply the right thing to do. And what's so exciting about this legislation is it would be a game changer to make sure that security guards are getting the benefits, the pay, and the protection that they deserve being on the front lines throughout New York City. So I can't tell you how personally excited I am about this bill and how committed I am to it. I want to thank Speaker Adams for championing this vital legislation. We are going to be joined shortly by the Deputy Speaker, and she'll make comments on behalf of the Speaker. I want to now read a statement from my colleague, Councilmember Narcisse, who couldn't be here today. She wanted to say that she's a proud supporter of this bill, and she said that it carries deep meaning for her. She mentions that Alan Etienne was her constituent, a dedicated security officer who lost his life protecting others at 345 Park Avenue. He was a kind and devoted man who took great pride in his work and was deeply respected by everyone who knew him. I want to thank Alan's family, who has shown extraordinary courage in turning tragedy into advocacy. Their efforts are helping to ensure that his legacy leads to real change. Security officers are an essential part of New York City's public safety network, guarding schools, hospitals, offices, and transit hubs. And so that is a statement from Councilmember Narcisse. I also want to say that I find it shocking and appalling that no one from the administration is here. We have 5 empty chairs right here. We are here to honor Alan's life. And there can be no better testament to honor his life than to pass this vital piece of legislation to protect our security guards. And the fact that the administration does not have the decency and the compassion to even show up is absolutely unconscionable. So, since we have the 5 empty chairs and no one from the administration, I'm now going to turn to the very important public testimony. We can't wait to hear from all of you. I'm really excited about the turnout that happened on this rainy day, and so we're very excited to have this dialogue with you. So I'm now going to commence the public hearing. So I want to remind members of the public that this is a formal government proceeding and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public need to remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but they may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant at Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the Sergeant of Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's hearing topic. If you require translation services, you'll have a total of 4 minutes for you to speak on today's hearing topic and for the interpreter to interpret your testimony. We ask that you pause frequently to give the interpreter enough time to interpret your testimony as you go. And if you have a written statement or additional written testimony that you want to submit, please submit it for the record. I promise you we read all of these statements. They really do matter to us. So please provide a copy of that to the Sergeant at Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. So now it is my great pleasure to call the first panel. And on our first panel, Manny Pastrich, President of 32BJ, Rachel Paoli, Ibrahima Sen, Clarissa Baines. If you could all please come down. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Chair Menon, and thank you for your leadership on this issue, and your opening comments were appreciated. I'm Manny Pastrich, the president of SEIU 32BJ, the largest property service union in the country, representing 185,000 essential workers up and down the East Coast and 90,000 here in New York City. Our ranks include 20,000 security officers here in New York City who stand on the front lines of our city each and every day and carry out the difficult and dangerous work of keeping New Yorkers safe. Despite their essential role, security officers are the unsung heroes in a city that has long stood by first responders. Poor wages and benefits, hazardous job conditions, and inadequate training have together produced a crisis of turnover in the workforce. A recent report finds that New York City security industry suffers from a 77% annual turnover rate. This constant churn saps the workforce experience and risks undermining public safety in our city. The Alain Etienne Safety and Security Act, sponsored by Speaker Adams, aims to reverse the turnover crisis and further professionalize the workforce. In the highly outsourced, labor-intensive security sector, tough competition to win contracts drives employers to depress labor costs by keeping wages and benefits low. Security officers have countered this race to the bottom by organizing unions, like 32BJ, and negotiating strong contracts. But thousands of workers in New York City continue to make less than $18 an hour and lack any meaningful benefits, adequate training, job protections, or union representation. Poor job standards are unacceptable for officers who risk their lives every day protecting our city. The recent death of security officer and 32BJ brother, Alain Etienne, and again, thank you for your moment of silence in his honor, who was fatally shot by a heavily armed gunman at 345 Park Avenue, the building he had guarded for years. We continue to honor him and his family and send our love and support to you. It is an unimaginable loss, but a risk that we know all of our officers live with. A New York City-specific training will supplement state requirements and raise training standards to levels necessary for a city of this size and status. Experienced, well-trained workers can effectively identify risk, can better handle mental health crises, and have the necessary background in first aid, CPR, and how to use defibrillators. Workers will feel more supported, and we will all benefit from having a better prepared security workforce. This bill would also set a citywide wage benefit, paid leave floor, and levels necessary to attract and retain a qualified and experienced workforce. This would ensure an even playing field for contractors and guarantee a basic standard of living that can lift low-wage, predominantly Black and Latino workforce out of poverty. And it would also raise citywide training requirements to ensure the skills, stability, and experience in the security workforce that all New Yorkers can count on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. And I have a number of questions, but I'll wait till everyone speaks if that's okay. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Paoli, and I wish I were not standing before you today. On July 28th, a shooter entered to 349 Park Avenue and took the life of my Alan Etienne, my friend, my classmate, my love, who was serving as a security officer. Alan made the ultimate sacrifice, choosing bravery and selflessness over fear. In his final moment, he had to protect others by shutting down the elevator to save his co-worker. Alan heroism was not only a veiled moment. He had to protect others like he always do. On his final act in bravery, he was over into the fabric of everyday life, serve others, be there for everybody. He did not seek for praise and attention. He simply showing up for his family, for his colleague, for everyone who depend on him. His courage on July 28th was simply the reflection of the man he has always been. Alan will survive by his 3 daughters, Christina Dwinland Etienne, Jerwin, Jennifer Lud Etienne, and Naika, and his only son, Rolandi Lucien Etienne, and his family, like his 4 brothers, Goldie Etienne, Stanley Etienne, Gatman Etienne, and Smith Etienne, by his only sister, Mablin Etienne, and also by his parents, the first love of his mom, Marie Cajus Etienne, and his dad, Jourdain Etienne, and me. By his extended family, cousin, and Edwin Joseph, and lineage Augustine. Every day is a struggle with my son. He's only 7 and he realizes now he won't have a father anymore. His biggest fear when I drop him to school in the morning, he don't want me to leave and stop crying and telling me every morning, "Mommy, I don't want you to vanish like Daddy. I want you to stay with me." When we spend the weekend together, if I have to go shopping, he refused to let me go because he said, "Mommy, I don't want the same thing happen to you. I have only you." Alan also left behind as much biggest family at 32 BJs. He may not have all of them, brothers and sisters and security, but all of them who know him keep his memory and messages alive. Alan was the man for everybody on earth. It was an unbelievable person regarding serving people. Thanks to them, his name graced this bill, which would protect them and thousands of security officers like Alan. Excuse me. All of them know him and keep his memory alive. Thanks to them, his name graces his bill, which would protect them. Thousands of security officers like Alan and secure that they have the kind of benefit, more training, more pay, more equipment for their work, a decent life insurance when something happens, that anybody has to suffer what I'm getting through every day in life. Since I become the mom and the dad, it's not easy. As someone who always looks after others, this bill is fighting a way to honor Alan's legacy. He will continue to change life. He'll always be with us. I urge you, please, to pass Alan Etienne Safety for Security Act, so the security officer across of the city that put their life online every day I ensure the quality of life Alan had. I would like to say thank you as well to all of the people who reach out to my family and help our GoFundMe fund. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to the union. Thank you to the city council, and thank you to everybody. Thank you.
So I first of all want to just extend our deepest condolences to you and your entire family. I want to thank you for your courage from being here. I know how difficult this must be to be able to talk about him, but I want to assure you that he died as a hero. The story you told about what he did, protecting people, trying to turn off the elevator bank, he saved lives. And through this legislation, which will honor his memory, he is going to save hundreds of lives. There is no better way that we can honor him than through this legislation. And so you have our deep commitment, and I can't thank you enough for being here today. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Ibrahim Sen. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Honor. Thank you for having me here at City's Council. My name is Ibrahim Sen. I work as a security officer at several store locations. At my job, I am not just guarding against thefts, but I also protect the employees and the customers. I care a lot about keeping them safe. A lot of times, I work late at night. It can be scary. Anything can happen. If someone comes into our store with the intent of breaking the law or becoming violent, I'm the first line of defense. But I don't feel like I always have the protection, wages, and benefit that I need and deserve. Every time I clock in at my job, I feel like I might be taking a risk in order to provide for my family. I am from Senegal and fighting to achieve my American dream. It gets difficult to do that with the cost of living always going up. I work very, very hard, and I am here today because I know the Island Haitian Safety and Security Act will give me more stability and support. I would have health care so I could take better care of my life. Better training would help me with things that happen on my job. And I would have enough PTO to visit my family in Senegal. Island Act will help me to be a better security officer. I could finally build my life and career here. I know many other security officers are in the same position. I am standing here to fight not just for me, but for all the security officers. We work hard to protect this city. Now we are asking you to protect us. It's time to protect the protectors. It's time to pass the Island Haitian Safety Act security. Thank you, Honor. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Clarissa Baines, and I've been working as a security officer for 18 years. Just want to thank you for having me here today on speak on behalf of security officers. I've been working at ULM Holdings, 1776 Broadway, a major commercial building for the past 7 years. I care a lot about my job, and I think I'm pretty good at it. I know all the people and all the businesses. I work the overnight shift so I can say goodbye to people on their way out for the day. Then I keep their offices and stores safe overnight. With my hard work, I protect their hard work and their livelihoods. And if things do happen in the first line of defense, I am here to respond and to protect. But even though I work an important full-time job, I'm struggling to keep up with the bills. I'm a lifelong New Yorker, and every year it gets harder to keep up with the cost of living. Rent, electricity, groceries, etc. The cost of everything is going up. I also don't have good health coverage. I've had a few health problems pop up over the years, and each time I have to pay out of pocket for medical care. And as I get older, which is terrifying, what if I get really sick? I could wind up thousands of dollars in debt. And I know that I'm not alone. I know there are many of my fellow security officers who are struggling. We're risking our lives by living paycheck to paycheck. For too many of us, our lives feel unstable. That is also contributing to high turnover. And I've seen a lot of great security officers, they come and then they go. We're losing good security officers because we're not getting the pay, health care, and the support we need to make ends meet. The Island Haitian Safety and Security Act would change my life. I would have stable pay so I could keep up with the bills. I could take better care of my health and not live in fear about what could happen if I get sick. And I could focus on advancing in my career. So wherever you go in New York, security officers like me are working hard to make sure that you are safe. We protect your homes, offices, and your businesses. We put our lives on the line to protect you and your livelihoods. We need to be able to keep ourselves safe too. That's why we need the Island Haitian Safety and Security Act. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have a number of questions for the panel. I'm first, though, going to recognize we've been joined by Deputy Speaker Ayala, who's going to read a statement, Majority Leader Farias, Councilmember Osei. So let me turn it over to the Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you and good morning. Councilmember Julie Manning, Chair of the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection, for leading today's important hearing on introduction number 1391. Speaker Adrian Adams, important bill to establish safety and workplace standards for security guards in our city. As Deputy Speaker, I am here to provide remarks on behalf of the Speaker. Security guards are an integral part of New York City's public safety infrastructure. They make sure that New Yorkers are safe when we go to our offices, cheer on our favorite sports teams, dance away the night away at a club, and pursue higher education. The risks that security guards take are underscored by the tragic death of Alan Etienne, a security guard who was killed while guarding the lobby of 345 Park Avenue in July of 2025 in a Midtown shooting. However, too often, security guards are not adequately compensated, sufficiently trained, or treated with the dignity and respect that they deserve. That is why Intro 1391, also known as the Alan Etienne Safety and Security Act, which would establish a new dedicated division of security and a security guard advocate within the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, is so important. It would establish and enforce minimum pay standards, paid sick leave, paid vacation benefits, and training requirements for security guards and their employers. The new division would be tasked with informing workers and employers about their rights and obligations, develop a system to track complaints on potential violations, and coordinate with stakeholders to address issues affecting the workplace. This historic legislation is part of the legacy of Alan Etienne, whose fierce love and commitment to New York City will be remembered forever. We look forward to a robust discussion on this legislation, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much. So a number of questions. So Manny, you mentioned 77% attrition rate. You represent so many workers in many different industries. Is that one of the highest attrition rates that you've seen?
For our members here in New York City, it is. I will say that we see generally a pretty direct correlation between pay, benefits, and turnover. So as you know, we've organized many industries, airport workers, cleaners, as well as security officers, and what we've seen in all of those cases is as you raise pay, as you raise benefits, the employers invest more in the employees, they care more about them, the employees care more about the jobs and retaining them, and turnover is reduced, and the training gets better, the relationships get better, and overall people are more invested in their jobs.
And what type of training exists now?
Right now there's a 8-hour pre-hire training that workers need to have, often on their own. And then there's a 16-hour requirement on the job once you're hired, and an 8-hour annual refresher.
And I'm very concerned about the mental health repercussions that happen from this tragedy, and what is being done to address the mental health of security guards?
I would say that most really, particularly if they're non-union and they don't have the healthcare services that our members have, generally not much is done. You know, I can't make overall generalizations around the 80,000 security officers in the many in non-union market, which is the majority of those. But honestly, security officers, to your point, are faced with intense situations every day. We're talking about some of the most tragic ones. And we also remember Kamara Idrissa, who was a security officer about 13 years ago under very similar circumstances, lost his life. Those are the extremes, but they're on a continuum of what security officers have to deal with every single day in terms of situations that can start out very mild and escalate because of mental health, because of drug issues, because of all the things that plague the city. And as we're saying, security officers really are that front line in so many of the institutions. As you and Councilmember Ayala focused there, they are the front lines in every kind of building and situation where we want to keep the public safe.
And lastly, can you just talk a little bit more about the impact that this bill will have on security workers, security guards?
I think Officer Baines said it incredibly well, that if we can create more stability in people's lives, it will allow them to focus on their jobs and focus on advancement. As people stay in their jobs, these annual trainings will become that much more important. So we'll have we'll create a level of fairness, and all honestly speaking, as a labor union person, that people will be paid and respected and be able to live in this city. But that stability that flows from that will allow people to stay in the jobs longer, understand deeper how to deal with difficult situations, and at the end of the day, make us all safer.
Thank you. Do any of my colleagues have questions? Yeah.
I don't have any questions, but I do just want to thank you for coming here and giving us testimony and really it's extremely brave to put your entire story back on the line here in this way in Chambers, and we're grateful for you showing up. And as the chair had said, we are going to do everything possible to make sure that this bill passes. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. No. Okay. Great. Thank you so much to this panel. Thank you for being here. Okay. I am going to call the next panel.
You good? Thank you. Okay, thank you.
The next panel is Legia Gong, Dennis Fan, Cassandra Gomez. Thank you. What? Oh, finance. Is it in there? Okay. Three, yes, three. Thanks.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Dennis Fan. I'm an associate clinical professor at Columbia Law School. I'm here to address one of the main legal concerns about raising the minimum wage. From time to time, we hear the view that cities can't raise their minimum wage. That comes from a 1960s decision called Wholesale Laundry, where the New York Court of Appeals had blocked New York City from doing that. Wholesale Laundry, and I want this on the record, is somewhat of a boogeyman. It's a one-line, sharply divided 4-3 Court of Appeals order. The appellate division decision that it had affirmed said two things. One, it said that a city's minimum wage was field preempted, so that the state had blocked the entire field. And the second was that the city's minimum wage conflicted with state law. Even in 1963, though, it was impossible to tell whether a majority of the court even agreed with either rationale, or if they were themselves split further. It's been really apparent since then that the court never agreed with either rationale. A year after Wholesale Laundry, the court held that cities could raise the wage for public works employees, so no field preemption there. In a decade, the court said that the conflict rationale was, quote, much too broad. A few years ago, the appellate division here in New York realized that Wholesale Laundry is a relic of a bygone era when it upheld supplemental pay in this city council's Fair Workweek law. So I just wanted to say that the vast shift in local wage regulation and in urbanization, as my colleagues will address, as well as the crumbling foundations of Wholesale Laundry, are established reasons for this council to pass a law that would let the Court of Appeals at least clarify its view on it.
Thank you, Chair Menon and members of the committee for the opportunity to testify today in support of introduction number 1391. My name is Cassandra Gomez, and I'm a senior staff attorney at the National Employment Law Project, a nonprofit organization that seeks to strengthen protections and build power for workers in the U.S. There's been an explosion in local wage activity from just a handful at the beginning of the 21st century to today, nearly 70 cities and counties that have passed a higher local minimum wage. High-cost cities that have passed their own higher local minimum wage include Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, Minneapolis, Denver, Chicago, Santa Fe, and Albuquerque. In a state with a diverse geography like New York, it is critical that workers in New York City, which is consistently cited as the most expensive city to live in the U.S., have wage standards that work for them. Further, local wage standards allow communities to fulfill the needs of their workers without waiting on state legislatures, which may be slower to keep up. The state minimum wage simply does not go far enough to reflect the reality of the cost of living for New Yorkers. Under state law, New York City's minimum wage is set to reach an insufficient $17 by 2026 and is expected to adjust with inflation beginning in 2027. Our City Council should act to increase local wages sooner, and Intro 1391 is a great first step toward that. A number of jurisdictions that have adopted their own wage standards have done so even though their state laws, as is the case in New York, are silent on wage preemption. Minneapolis and large counties in Maryland are among such localities, and in both Minnesota and Maryland, state courts have upheld local wage ordinances, ruling that they are not preempted by state law. We applaud the City Council for the steps it has already taken to adopt strong standards for workers, such as the city's food delivery, worker protections, fair scheduling law, and paid sick days, to name a few. But we are an outlier amongst our peers for not yet enacting a higher local minimum wage. Intro 1391 is a natural next step that builds upon the City Council's record, and we strongly urge its passage.
Thank you, Chair Menon and the committee for the opportunity to testify. I am Legia Gong, the Managing Director for Legal and Policy at Local Progress Impact Lab. I work with cities across the country and have studied, supported, and written about how in recent years, localities have emerged as key players in advancing workers' rights. And in many cases, this local legislation addresses urgent, industry-specific concerns and conditions. In the hospitality industry, cities have addressed safety issues like sexual harassment and assault, as well as low wages through local legislation. Chicago, for example, requires hotel employers to provide portable emergency contact devices, so-called panic buttons. And at least 4 California cities mandate a higher minimum wage specifically for their hotel workers. In 2019, Philadelphia enacted legislation requiring parking operators to demonstrate just cause to fire an employee and mandating sufficient staffing to ensure the safety of employees and customers. And frankly, it is no coincidence that many of these policies address issues of public safety along with low wages and other working conditions. Ensuring public safety has long been a traditional local function, and cities are appropriately utilizing their authority to respond to the public safety challenges that affect the public and workers alike. To that end, this bill will bring New York City in line with its peers, leading the way across the country. And I also want to take a quick moment to provide some short context about home rule in New York State. In 1894, New York was part of a wave of states that adopted constitutional home rule after the Civil War, when rapid urbanization and growing populations in cities across the country led to movements to vindicate local authority. The basic theory of this wave of home rule was that state constitutions would empower cities to act with respect to what were considered local affairs. It is this legal landscape and the subsequent development of that law, as Dennis has discussed, that has enabled New York City to grow to what it is today, accounting for more than 57% of the state's GDP. And for a large and diverse state like New York, all of the state's cities, counties, villages, and towns have relied on home rule to govern effectively and accountably.
Wonderful, thank you. I just want to say on a personal note, I love hearing about these legal case laws. I used to teach preemption, so I really appreciated your analysis of field preemption, and I agree with your analysis on the case law. And clearly what is happening here is that this law is aimed at a public safety risk, which really sets it apart. So thank you so much to this panel. Any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to call the next panel Stephen Amate, Felix Milav. And also our third panelist is on Zoom and is Nikki Franzita.
Chairman, members of the council, my name is Steve Amate. I'm the executive director of the National Association of Security Companies, NASCO. In New York City, NASCO member companies employ thousands of trained security officers who are providing security services at a vast array of client sites. These officers receive comprehensive training required by state law, client contracts, CBAs, NYFD regulations, and training is also tailored to their specific job sites. Introduced in response to the active shooter incident at 345 Park Avenue in July that tragically claimed the lives of on-duty security officer Lan Etienne and NYPD officer Didaral Islam, Introduction 1391 has been described as a measure to address that security officers are, quote, too often denied the training that could save their lives and ours. That inference that Officer Etienne, who died a hero, was denied training that could have saved his lives or others in an incident where also an armed, highly trained NYPD officer was killed is way off base, to put it mildly. And please tell me how training, as the bill requires, in community health and wellness, including drug and alcohol addiction, homelessness, and mental illness, as well as in workplace rights and anti-discrimination and wage and hour laws, will make security officers safer. In reality, the overwhelming focus and effect of this Safety and Security Act is to establish and enforce minimum wage, paid sick leave, paid vacation leave, and benefits for security officers in the city, as well as require additional training. And as for the training required in the bill, much of it is duplicative of existing required state and other training currently being provided to security officers in the city, or is intended for activities that are outside the duty scope of security officers that could lead to potential harm and or criminal or civil liability for officers. Record keeping and other obligations put on security officers also duplicative of existing requirements under state law. And overall, the bill seems to intrude into regulatory fields such as wage setting, employment standards, and occupational licensing that are already occupied by comprehensive state statutes, including New York labor law and the Security Guard Act. Thank you.
I have a lot of comments on that. I'm going to let you go first, and then I'm going to respond to what you said. Put the mic on. The red light needs to be on.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for giving me the privilege and the opportunity to make a comment here. First of all, I'm very sad about what happened with the officer Etienne, Lan Etienne. That's why I'm here. I have this opportunity. I was supposed to finish my shift at midnight, but regrettably, my other fellow security officer could not make it for very well personal reasons, and get off at 8 o'clock with barely not sleeping, and here I am having this opportunity. Thank you. Okay, about us, the security officers, we have many experience and we have many backgrounds. Some of us, we have educational backgrounds that we put a lot into the table. Our training is what they call OJT, on-the-job training. In other words, our work as a security officer plus the other work that we have to learn based on the sites that we have to work, we have to learn also the ropes and have to understand the nooks and crannies about everything that is going on, whether in buildings, governmental facilities, institutions like in health, universities, and all of that. Definitely. We bring a lot into the table. However, respectfully, I would like to say that sometimes I have to say, based on my almost 30 years doing this job, that sometimes we don't have the recognition and respect. For example, in encounters that we have to have with the police, with NYPD, the NYPD sometimes they treat us like underlings. They don't give us sometimes the respect. Some they act professionally, but sometimes, I'm sorry to say it, but they don't give us the respect. So again, we do a very well critical work,
Okay.
and I appreciate the opportunity to make my statement. Thank you so much.
Okay, and our next speaker is Nikki Franzita on Zoom.
You may begin.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee, for the opportunity to testify today. I am Nikki Franzita, Vice President of Member Relations and Development of the Hotel Association of New York City. representing more than 300 of the city's hotels and 40,000 employees. Our industry shares the council's commitment to maintaining safe, fair, and professional workplaces. Security guards play a vital role in protecting guests, employees, and property, and hotels already invest heavily in safety and training through collective bargaining agreements and state licensing requirements. We have several concerns about how Intro 1391 would function in practice. First, we would welcome consideration of a collective bargaining agreement carve-out. Many hotels already operate under strong union contracts that provide robust wages, benefits, and training provisions. Allowing those agreements to satisfy the bill's requirements would help avoid duplication while maintaining the high standards those contracts already ensure. We would also encourage clarification that a violation of this law would not also constitute a violation of the Safe Hotels Act, and are happy to work with you on language that demonstrates this if amenable to the council. Keeping the two frameworks distinct would help maintain focus on their respective purposes and avoid confusion in enforcement, especially as it relates to the maintaining of a hotel license. Finally, we believe the council could consider adjustments to implementation timelines and enforcement methods to ensure compliance remains practical, particularly given that the 120-day training requirement may overlap with the industry-wide agreement's 60-day probationary period for new hotel employees. While the law does not technically require training to be completed before probation ends, the timelines could overlap in a way that makes it possible that the required training will need to be completed
Time's
during
expired.
the probationary period in order to comply. This would entail extensive scheduling and cost challenges for hotels across the
Okay,
city.
I'm just going to ask you to wrap up and to submit the testimony, please.
Yes, thank you for your time. That's all I had to say,
Okay.
and for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Okay, I want to get back to your comments, Stephen Amate. I think they were insensitive, callous, and wrong on the law. First of all, you're saying that training would not help. How on earth can you say, and particularly in light of this tragedy where someone died, that training is not going to make a difference?
I mean, the NYPD police officer was highly trained and armed, and that training did not make a difference. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that argument, I can't believe you're coming here with a straight face and saying that. It's so disrespectful to the security guards. It's so disrespectful also, by the way, to the NYPD officers to just say that training does not make a difference, and you're saying this on the backs of this tragedy. Furthermore, you've got a 77% attrition rate in your industry. So how on earth can you say that better pay, paid sick leave, the benefits that are being talked about in this bill would not make a difference on that issue?
It's a private marketplace. These are private employees with private employers, private employees making contracts with private businesses. That's the way the market is. We try to point out that, you know, better paid, I agree, better paid, better trained security officers, you know, will result in better
So now
security.
you just said better pay and better training will, so you've just now contradicted your prior testimony.
Yes, but...
Yes, exactly, yes.
Okay, fine, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and the last thing is, I have to point this out for the record, you made an assertion that we do not have the legal authority to do so. We do have the legal authority to do so. I was a commissioner of consumer affairs when that agency morphed into consumer and worker protection. We absolutely have the legal authority to do this. And the case law, whether it be the McMillan case, completely eviscerates prior case law on field preemption.
Right. So, I mean, why then is the city then not setting the wages for everyone who works
Okay,
in the
first
city?
of all, this is not a dual questioning thing. This is, we are questioning you at this point.
Right.
Okay. Any questions? No. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to the next panel. Okay. Our next panel is Trevina Guerrier, Ken Prashad, and Shane Mitchell. Is he doing another panel? Please to vote then.
Oh, do I have to give him
That's
one?
cute. That's cute. please begin. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on intro number 1391, the Alain Etienne Safety and Security Act. My name is Trevina Garrell. I'm an adjunct professor of criminal and social justice at Monroe University and a training instructor at the 32BJ Thomas Shortman Training Center. I have also taught at St. John's University and John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Prior to teaching, I served over 2 decades with the NYPD, retiring as a Sergeant Supervisor Detective Squad. As a former law enforcement officer, I can testify firsthand to the essential role that security officers play in New York City's public safety. Throughout my career with the NYPD, I consistently observed security officers support the work of police officers, perhaps most notably during the 9/11 terrorist attacks and its aftermath. Despite their key role in New York City's public safety infrastructure, security officers lack the training, pay, and benefits commensurate with their importance. Building owners expect employees to not only secure their properties, but also mediate disputes and de-escalate dangerous situations. However, the skills required to do so do not come naturally to most people. They must be learned. This is why it is so important for the city to supplement the existing state training standards with training designed to meet the unique challenges that New York City security officers face. Additionally, many security officers I have trained are living very precariously. I have literally taught officers who work all day patrolling a homeless shelter and then go to sleep at night at a homeless shelter. Low pay contributes to high turnover, and when turnover is high, you lose the benefits conferred by training in the first place. In order to ensure that well-trained security officers can support New York's public safety, it is crucial that they receive wages and benefits that allow them to live in our increasingly expensive city. Thank you again for your work on this issue.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to everyone in this room. My name is Ken Prashad. I'm the Senior Director of Compliance and Operation for A&H Security Services. We are a locally based MBE security provider here in New York City. Raising the minimum wage for security guard across all sectors would make a big difference. It would help improve conditions for our employees. It would let us standardize billing rates for our clients and create a more level playing field when bidding on new contracts. From my experience and from anyone else's experience in the security industry, whenever we are able to pay our guards more, we see better retention and overall performance. The challenge is that we can only so high before getting under bid the low road contractors, unfortunately. There are a lot of them in the industry that the leaders and leads to high turnovers force us to constantly backfill roles with low expectation or low experience. Providing security in New York City isn't 2 weeks ago. One of our security officers escorted a housekeeper into our room. Wherever a guest was, she refused to leave. That guest became extremely irate and assaulted our security officer who's just trying to do his job. For more example of this situation, all you need to do is just turn on the news, and plenty of stories that you see of men and women who's dealing with this on a daily deserves a fair and reasonable pay for the work they do in keeping the city safe.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Menon and members of the committee for the opportunity to speak in favor of Intro 1391, the Alain Etienne Safety and Security Act. My name is Shane Mitchell. I'm the Deputy Political Director for the Hotel and Gaming Trades Council. HDC represents over 40,000 hotel, club, racetrack, and casino workers, a majority of them here in New York City. We represent hospitality workers wall to wall, meaning we represent not only housekeepers, front desk, and food and beverage workers, but maintenance and security workers too. The security guards in our union work to protect guests visiting our city, as well as our members who are entering guest rooms and interacting with strangers as part of their job. As you may be aware, our contract requires housekeepers to be equipped with panic buttons, which call the attention of security in the case of an assault or other emergency. In addition, just to be frank, criminals sometimes try to use hotel rooms for various illegal purposes, from human trafficking to storing stolen goods. But beyond that, even well-meaning guests, some who might just be enjoying our city a little too much, can pose safety risks to themselves and those around them. Security guards in hotels are a key piece of the puzzle in reducing crime and making improvements to public safety in our city. It is important that the industry standards, both in terms of training, but also in compensation, be commensurate to the work we're asking these people to do. Our union contract ensures a high standard for wages, benefits, PTO, and training, but the pipeline for security guard employment doesn't always start with a great union job. We are especially excited about the training requirements in the bill. We all benefit from a rise in the competency of security guards, no matter where they are working. Additional training will help ensure better outcomes when an incident occurs. We also believe that the wage and benefit standards in the bill will help to ensure that security guards stick with their profession long term. Candidly, there's not much turnover in the security guard positions represented by our union. That is because our contract provides high wages, free family health care, generous leave allowances, and a strong pension. While this bill does not have all the bells and whistles of our contract, it should help to ensure that more security guards stay in their jobs for longer. We'd like to commend Speaker Adams and every sponsor of this legislation for their diligent work on this issue. We appreciate the attention given to the concerns of working New Yorkers. We urge you to vote yes on Intro 1391. Thank you.
Thank you. A couple questions for this panel. For the record, do you feel that additional training that is provided by this bill will make a difference in the safety of the security guards and the safety of the general public?
Absolutely, I do. Training prepares you for the what-ifs, and the way you practice, the way you train, is the way that you're going to likely handle the situations that you are confronting. So training, in my opinion, is an absolute must. I can't believe the other speaker who did not, well, he eventually agreed, but absolutely training is essential to this workforce, no doubt about it.
Thank you. And any additional comments from you?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like you're retired as well from the police department, so am I. You need that training to do your job. Without training, you cannot do it. So I totally agree with that.
And in a similar vein, will additional pay, paid sick leave, and the benefits offered under this legislation and this new plan that DCWP would be implementing, will that address the issue of the 77% attrition rate that we are seeing within this industry?
It certainly won't hurt it. And about 2 weeks ago, Channel 7 Eyewitness News reported that to live comfortably in New York City, you have to earn $174,000 a year. We have to raise the benefits and wages for this workforce. And as I testified, and just yesterday I conducted an 8-hour training at the Thomas Shortman Training Fund at 32BJ. And one of the members stated before our group that one of the new security officers hired goes home to a homeless shelter. That is unconscionable. And so if these wages can help them, absolutely. And it's a mere pittance. They're not asking for thousands of dollars an hour. It's unconscionable for anyone to think otherwise, that it wouldn't help.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much to this panel. I'm now going to call the next panel. Matilda Radinson, Percy, sorry, cannot read, I believe it's Gaiety, Raven Skinner, and Badra Nahar. Okay, please begin.
Before I start, I just want to give my deepest condolences to Alan and his family. I am Alan's co-worker. I'm one of his co-workers, so this is why I'm here. I dedicate myself to be here for him and everyone else that we're here for. Also, I do want to say I was there that day. My shift is a little earlier, so I left at 3 p.m., but that could have been me. So this is also why I'm here. I send my deepest condolences to everyone. Okay, I'm gonna start. My name is Raven Skinner. I'm New York born, raised from Manhattan, and I work as a security officer at 345. When I started working as a security officer a few years ago, I looked to my coworkers as examples. I find a role model in Alan Eachin. Each and every day, Alan showed up with real drive and dedication. I saw how much care and effort he put into our work, into keeping everyone coming in and out of our skyscraper safe. And pretty soon, I found out where his motivation came from. I was usually the one to cover his post at the lobby while we were on break. I always looked forward to it because I knew and figured during those 30 minutes of that break time he'd be calling his family or his children. I'm also a parent. I have 2 kids. My son is 9 years old and my daughter is 7. Alan cherished that time to speak to his kids, and we all knew Alan's drive, the energy he brought to work every day, and his commitment to protect the people in our building was rooted in his motivation and to provide for his kids, to support them and to show up for them. He was someone who uplifted others, my hero. Every day, Alan inspired me to be a better security officer and a better parent. What happened that day on July was a tragedy. I was home when I learned that there was a mass shooting at the building. Later, I found Alan passed. I made phone calls. I was getting information all day. I was absolutely devastated. Alan showed up that day with the same dedication he brought every day. He gave his life trying to protect the people he worked with. What I hope now is more people can recognize Alan's example and could see the recognized thousands of officers just like him. As security officers, we put our lives on the line every day to provide for our families and keep our clients safe. It's a job that requires dedication and deserves recognition. The Alan Eachin Act, Safety and Security Act, offers us one opportunity to honor Alan's legacy. With the support of Alan's family and this legislation would, in Alan's name, lift all security officers across New York City. Alan's Act will strengthen public safety and helping to keep well-trained and experienced officers around. Alan will always inspire me. I hope he can inspire you too. Let's honor this act.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Matilda Radisson. I'm a proud Puerto Rican New Yorker, a 32 BJ Union member, and a security officer. I have been working in security at the World Trade Center Oculus for more than 10 years. I am standing here today because having good, affordable health care literally saved my life. I went through spinal surgery and cancer, and all of my treatments were covered. I'm on my feet all day. It's hard on your body. Without spinal surgery, I wouldn't be able to walk. And without an amazing cancer treatment and care I received, I don't know if I would be here today. I never had to choose between paying rent and getting life-saving treatment. And I care that I needed. That's why I'm fighting for the Alan Etienne Safety and Security Act, because there are thousands of security officers who are
I think we're okay.
You're all right? Okay, all right. Let us know if you need anything.
Wow.
Okay.
There are thousands of security officers who are having to make those kinds of tough choices. Many are having to work 2 and even 3 jobs just to get by. That's not right. And it's burning people out. Our job is stressful. We're on the front line. We're dealing with all kinds of incoming crises and emergencies. That takes a toll on your mind and your body. The combination of high stress and low pay means we're burning people out. We're losing good, experienced security officers every day. And as kind of threats we're facing. Security officers need the training to do our jobs as best we can. Every day, I work hard to protect a major transportation hub and New York landmark. In my 10 years, I have responded to all kinds of emergencies, fights, medical emergencies, terrorist threats. If something does happen, it's my job to stand post and to make sure every single person in the building gets out safely. Nowadays, I worry more and more about active shooters. I want to make sure that I have the tools to respond to the New Yorkers safe during every kind of crisis. And I want to make sure that while making their lives, my fellow officers are not having to make the impossible choice between rent and food and medical care. We need to stand by security officers, stand with security, so we can stand for you every day in every crisis. Stand with us by passing Allen's Act. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Where am I? Okay. Hello, my name is Percy Giddy. That's the way you pronounce my last name, Giddy. I'm a security officer at a building near Bryant Park, which is not too far from where the incident happened. And pretty much I worked for a security officer over 20 years, doing pretty much building office buildings and hotel buildings. I work multiple jobs as well, and pretty much I'm in the front. Security guards, security officers are pretty much on the front line every day, every single day, and not getting compensated properly. My fault, I'm not good at this, sorry. Passing this bill can help workers like myself with my children's medical expenses because outside coverage is way too overpriced for us low-paid workers with high rent to pay and other obligations. My children and I deal with health issues as well, which is impossible to keep up with medical expenses and other expenses as well, other expenses and obligations, especially being as a single father. The health insurance my company provides is expensive and doesn't do much, and so I have to seek outside health insurance. It's way too expensive, but at least more things are covered that way. So every day I am struggling to keep up with my bills, and every year it seems like the cost of living is going up. And I am a hard-working single father in need of affordable health care. I want to be able to take care of my daughters and my sons and myself without worrying about the cost of the doctor's visits or medication. This Allen Etnia Safety and Security Act would definitely help people like myself who are fighting every day to protect you in the city and to provide for our families. And definitely, training will definitely help. I say three times a year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could you just just press the button until the red light turns on. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, good morning, everyone. And thank you for giving me a chance opportunity. I'm a security officer, Bodrun Nahar, and thanks again for having me here today. 11 years ago, I came here from my home country of Bangladesh in hopes of building a better future for myself and my family. I have two very intelligent daughters who have bright futures, but because of our financial situation, I don't know if I will be able to support their higher education. I have been working as a security officer for more than a year. I work at a building where there are offices and a school. I bring a lot of care to the job. I want New Yorkers to feel safe and be protected when they are coming and going from work or school. I work hard to protect this city and its people. Every day I work hard to protect this city and its people. I bring a lot of care to the job, but I am earning poverty wages. And with the company provided health insurance, I have to pay $200 a week out of my own pocket, and that's only to cover myself. I have rent and phone bills to pay. We've had a few family emergencies lately. And with the company provided health insurance, I have to pay $200 a week out of my own pocket. I have to rent and phone bills to pay. We've had a few family emergencies lately. And Allen Attorney Safety and Security Act will help me achieve the American dream. So, with my hard work, I can build a better life for my daughters. Together, we can help thousands of other workers do the same. Let's pass Allen's Act. Thank you.
Thank you very much to this panel. I really appreciate you taking the time to testify today. Thank you.
Thanks for you.
Our next panel, I believe it's on Zoom, is Lauren Melodia? No, not on Zoom, sorry, in person. Lauren Melodia, Enrique Lopezaleria, Carla Walter, Theodore Moore. So this is next. Okay, yeah, please go. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good morning or good afternoon, and thank you, Chair Menon and the committee, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Lauren Melodia, and I'm an economist at the New Schools Center for New York City Affairs. There's approximately 82,000 private security officers in New York, and at least 85% of them are working full-time year-round. But despite the hard work they're doing every day to protect us, 1/3 of those earning less than the median hourly wage in the sector can be defined as working poor. This means that despite having a job, they live in a family earning less than 200% of the federal poverty line. Now keep in mind the federal poverty line is a national threshold. It doesn't take into account the cost of living in New York, so it's underestimating the affordability crisis these workers are facing. But it's a really useful concept when thinking about wage standards in the city, because those who can be defined as working poor have employers who are shirking the responsibility to cover their employees' basic cost of living and instead putting this responsibility on the government and taxpayers. The federal poverty line is used as a threshold for most public assistance programs in New York City, and it's intended to provide a social safety net for those facing unemployment and other hardships. But in 2023, nearly half of security officers living in the city received public health insurance, and 1/3 relied on SNAP. This is far greater than public assistance rates amongst workers in general in the city. For example, only 18% of working New Yorkers are on Medicaid. And it's a sign that the City Council needs to put some guardrails on the private security industry. Because of numerous actions taken by the federal government this year, the city is facing federal funding cuts, new public assistance requirements, and slower economic growth. 860,000 New Yorkers are expected to lose Medicaid in the coming years, and the city will have to make some tough choices. And one of those choices should be including requiring industries with a record of low wages to increase compensation and benefits so that taxpayer dollars can be used to support the most vulnerable, not to subsidize companies that are not paying workers enough to survive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Enrique Lopez Lira. I'm the director of the Low Wage Work Program at the University of California, Berkeley Labor Center. Thank you for the opportunity to present key findings from our recent research on the private security guard workforce in New York City. Security guards in New York City are essential workers protecting our buildings, hospitals, and transit hubs, yet their compensation and working conditions do not reflect their significant role. Their responsibilities have evolved to include de-escalating conflicts and managing crises, all while facing higher rates of assaults and fatal injuries on the job. They take on these risks without the benefits and training offered to workers in similar protective service occupations. According to our analysis of census data, the median hourly wage for New York City security guards is only $20.29. This is not a living wage. A staggering 8 out of 10 private security guards earn less than the $32.85 an hour a single adult in New York County would need to make to be self-sufficient, according to the MIT living wage. Their median annual income of $40,311 is less than 40% of the New York City area median income. This is a workforce primarily composed of workers of color, with Black workers accounting for over half of the workforce. We see significant racial and gender wage gaps in the data. Black security guards earn a median hourly wage of $19.06, and female security guards earn even less at $17.59. These poor conditions drive high turnover. The security service sector in New York City has an annual employee turnover rate of 74% in 2024, which is significantly higher than the overall private sector rate in New York City of 58%. This high turnover directly impacts security effectiveness. Job quality is thus a critical issue of both economic justice and public safety. New York City has a unique opportunity to lead the nation in setting higher labor standards for this growing and overlooked industry. Setting robust labor standards for this workforce is necessary to ensure a safe and equitable New York City. Thank you for your time and attention. I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you. My name is Carla Walter. I'm a senior fellow at the Center for American Progress. I'm here today to support the adoption of wage, benefit, and training standards for security guards in New York City. Security officers perform essential services that keep people safe. Yet my team released a national report that largely echoes Dr. Lopez Lira's findings. Nationally, we see security officers' wages have stayed flat over the last 15 years, while rent costs grew by 14%. About 40% of security officers do not receive employer-provided health insurance, and nearly 1 in 5 rely on Medicaid. And Black and Hispanic guards account for most workers in the occupation, but earn 10% less than white security officers. This poor compensation drives high, unsustainable turnover, and high turnover in turn increases hiring and training costs and diminishes workforce skills. Several industry consultants cite high turnover as leading to training gaps and errors and recommend raising pay. These recommendations are also echoed and are in line with research. For example, after San Francisco adopted an airport wage standard, turnover rates among security screeners fell from 95 to 19%. That saved employers thousands in restaffing costs per employee and improved security and performance. 1391 would support a well-qualified workforce and build on the city's existing contracting standard. Increasingly, we're seeing jurisdictions extending standards to private sector occupations. So, for example, Washington, D.C. requires security officers working in commercial office buildings to be paid around $25 per hour in combined wages and benefits. New York State itself requires that building service workers at major energy facilities be paid prevailing wages in order to help secure critical infrastructure. And several cities and states have formed industry standard boards that help set and enforce workplace standards in nursing homes and home care and fast food. New York City is often a leader in promoting decent work, but is failing security officers. 1391 would help ensure decent compensation, protect the public, and reestablish the city as a national leader.
All right. Good morning. My name is Theo Moore. I'm the Executive Director of Align, the Alliance for Greater New York. I'm also representing the Raise Up New York Coalition, which continues to fight for living wages and economic justice for all New Yorkers. Align and the Rooney Coalition strongly support Intro 1391. In 2023, Raise Up New York won a minimum wage increase to $17 in downstate New York and $16 upstate. Unfortunately, even with the current and future wage increases, it's just simply not enough. New York City workers face some of the highest cost of living in the entire nation. The Economic Budget Institute, they have a family budget calculator, and they calculate that in the Bronx, it would cost $135,000 for a family with 2 children. And in Manhattan, that's $167,000 a year. Security officers have, fortunately, through organizing unions and negotiating strong contracts, been able to rise above the minimum wage. However, thousands of them in New York continue to make less than $18 an hour. Intro 1391 would direct the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection to establish and enforce minimum wage for security officers and security guard employers throughout the 5 boroughs. Currently, nearly 82,000 security officers who live in New York City, nearly half of them receive public health insurance coverage in 2023, and nearly a third of them relied on SNAP. With looming deadlines and changes from Washington, D.C. to both of those programs, New York City has to ensure that all workers have adequate wages and benefits. With Trump-induced recession being ever prevalent every day, all New Yorkers need these basic protections. By setting and enforcing a solid wage floor, DCWP and the city ensure that we start with security officers who, quite frankly, their median income is, over a little over $40,000. Intro 1391 would put their wages in line with the important role that they play in our homes, in our workplaces, and in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to this panel. Appreciate your comments and testimony today. Thank you. I'm going to call our next panel, Calvin Baker, Mohammed Atia, Guadalupe Sosa, Mahmoud Zayed. If you could please come down. Hello.
Hi. Good morning. I think it's the morning. Good morning, Chairman, and thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Mohammed Atiyah. I'm the Managing Director of the Street Vendor Project. I'm here to express our support and solidarity to the security guards across the city, and our support, of course, to providing all the protections that are needed for them, and of course, the support to Intro 1391. But I'm here also to shed the light on another issue that you are very familiar with. For decades, street vendors have been dealing with an outdated system that treats them as criminals and deny them the right to exist in a lawful way. As a result of that system, street vendors have been more vulnerable to attacks by the federal government. We saw last week's ICE raid in Canal Street and what that did to the vendors community across the city. Again, yesterday, ICE raided street vendors in downtown Brooklyn and checked their IDs and their immigration status. We probably should know why ICE is going after our vendors. We shouldn't be surprised since vendors have been treated as criminals by their own local government for decades. So what are we waiting for? How many vendors should really get detained by ICE or probably deported for the council to realize the need and the urgency for the reforms to move forward? It's really important to also understand that a lot of council members would be very quick in expressing their support when the vendors are under attack, but they have not signed on the bills yet. They have not moved the reforms yet. And I have a quick message for the council members who receive a lot of complaints from their constituents. The message for them is that, what have you done to address the issue, right? We're calling the cops on the vendors, and that hasn't fixed anything. We have seen it over and over again, and it's nothing but a waste of time and resources. So how about if they consider a different approach? How about if they consider providing the proper license for vendors, providing the trainings, and then enforce the law? You should all consider that it is the only approach that we know will work, because we've seen the DOHMH data, 97% of permitted cars and trucks have a grade A on them. That's how compliance with the health code has been. But for unlicensed vendors, there is literally no enforcement that can happen but simply shutting down the business and let them go. And we look forward to working with you on passing the reform in this session. Thank you.
Sorry. Good morning. My name is Calvin Baker, and it is my honor to stand before you today to discuss these vital pieces of legislation. Intro 431, 408, and 24, all of what are essential components of the border street vendor reform package. These bills address a system that has long been broken, and they deserve an immediate hearing and a swift passing by the City Council. Intro 431 is designed to address the decade-old random choice cap on mobile food and general vendor license. This cap has limited opportunities and fueled a system of illegality, fines, and harassments for many workers and New Yorkers. What it does, this bill would increase the numbers of new food vendors, supervisory license, and general vendors, license available each year for 5 years, and critically, it would then lift the cap entirely on both supervisory and general vendor license. The problem it solves: for too long, the limited numbers of permits have created a black market where permits are illegally sold for exorbitant amount of money, making it nearly impossible for inspiring entrepreneurs, many of whom are immigrants and people of color, and it starts a legal business. Business. Intro 431 provides a pathway of legislated stability and growth for thousands of vendors. Why it matters passing Intro 431 is not just about license, it's about economic justice and allowing our city's smallest business, which contribute millions of dollars to our economy, to operate with dignity and a formal recognition, that is.
Hello, my name is Guadalupe Sosa, and I'm here talking on behalf of street vendors. More than anything, we want to recognize and applaud the brothers that are here and the sisters that are here that are security guards and the hard work they do. And it's nice that they're getting heard, and soon their law is going to be passed. But in question, us street vendors, where is our protection? Where's us being heard of? We are in a time where we see that everything that's going on, where there's being raids, where a lot of our members are getting their stuff taken away, and we are falling into depression, we're falling into frustration of what's gonna happen with us when there's no security for us. We don't have the permits that we need in order to vend legally or properly. We don't have the licenses we need, and what's happening, we're being targeted, we're being persecuted just because we want to bring ends meet to the table. And I feel like this is stories that are going on and on and on in any field that's people work in. So I feel like it's crucial that we pass this package of laws now. The holidays are coming, and there's going to be no happy holidays in none of our vendors' homes when we can't bring a turkey to our table, when we can't have our lights being on, when we could barely take our kids to have a little entertainment and distract them from the reality that we're living in. All of this is being very, very difficult for us vendors, and I feel for the working class in general. So we do ask that if you guys please could take a look at our bills and have your colleagues also look at it and support it. The time is ticking and we need it now. Let's be part of a positive movement. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for this panel. We have 2 more panels left, so I'm going to call the next one Along Yan, who needs Mandarin translation, please, and then Yoxatil Campos and Cleotilde, both who need Spanish translation, please. Thank you. Where do I call this? Is there a list? At the end, there's just one name. I'll write it for you. Okay. Call the panel again? Okay. Oh, they're here? Okay. Okay, and wait, where is my,
¿Es okay?
Buenos días, mi nombre es Cleotilde y estoy aquí, Cleotilde, y estoy aquí para dejarles saber la angustia que sentimos las madres vendedoras ambulantes. Realmente lo que ha pasado en los últimos días ha sido muy fuerte para nosotras.
Dame un segundo, okay? My name is Clotilde, and I wanted to express to you the anxiety that we are feeling, the street vendors, when we are selling things outside. Continúa.
Nos hemos visto perseguidas más todavía, sentimos mucha angustia y ese es el único trabajo que tenemos para llevar sustento a nuestros hijos. Muchas de nosotras son personas de la tercera edad.
Un segundo. We have been very persecuted here in New York since we started this street vendors work. But please understand, this is the only job that we are able to do in order to support our home families. Many of us were people or at their age, like older people already, people who are selling these things. Continúa.
Es hora de que ustedes legislen a favor de esta reforma para la venta ambulante, ya que la venta ambulante, la ley que está ahora está irremediablemente rota.
Okay, un segundo. So I think it's the time to reform this law, and that's why we're counting on you if you can help us, because this law, unfortunately, is completely broken, and we need your help, all councilmen and councilwomen from New York. Continúa.
Necesitamos que trabajen a favor de todos los vendedores. Son las familias más vulnerables en este momento.
Un segundo. We need you to help to work on behalf of the street vendors and their families. We are also counting on you because we are very vulnerable people. We are suffering a lot about this.
Muchas gracias por su atención.
Thank you so much for your attention to this matter. Comienza.
Buenos días.
Presiona el botón.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Xochitl Campos y pues yo...
Sí. Continúa.
Yo les pido también pues que agilicen todo lo de los vendedores ambulantes porque la verdad es una lástima y una pena que se lleven todas sus cosas, que les tiren todas sus cosas.
¿Les quitan las cosas? Okay, un segundo. Yes, I want to ask you, please try to speed up this law, to help us with this law, because we are street vendors that we're trying to survive, and it's not fair, it's very unfair, it's not right that these people are taking our own items, they're taking the things away from us. Continue.
Yo he estado observando cómo los carros se llevan toda su mercancía y les recogen todo y aparte de llevarse su mercancía les ponen tickets muy elevados.
They are taking their cars with all the items that we're selling, that we're buying with sacrifice, and not only they are taking our items, but these people who are taking our things are also giving us very expensive fines that are very hard to pay.
Ahora es como dice nuestro presidente, no, es una cacería como estarlos vigilando y estarles quitando toda su mercancía. ¿Saben cuánto nos cuesta comprar nuestra mercancía para poderla perder y para pagar un ticket muy caro? No se puede.
Like our president say, this is a big hunting. And you know, it's very hard when these people are attacking us, taking our items, our things, because those things that we're buying are expensive and we spend a lot of money buying these items. They come and they steal these things from us, how we're going to survive? But besides taking the things from us, they want us to pay a very expensive fine for all this.
Yo quiero que ustedes se pongan en los zapatos de nosotros, que sientan lo que nos duele perder y no poder ganar esta lucha.
Un segundo. I want you to be in my own shoes. You see how hard it is to lose everything you buy to sell, and also to pay expensive fine, and we feel that we're losing this fight against this injustice that we're experiencing in New York.
Seguimos luchando y seguimos en la lucha. Yo personalmente les he dicho a los compañeros, sigamos, luchemos por lo que queremos.
Un segundo. We continue fighting. I told my own workmates and the people who are selling things with me also, we should not stop. We should continue fighting until the end, because we should win this fight in the end.
Queremos, como la compañera Clotilde acaba de mencionar, queremos pues nuestra reforma de leyes también, que nos ayuden y que nos echen la mano para poder.
Un segundo. Like my friend Clotilde say, they have to reform this labor law in order to help us as a street vendors, because this is the only way we can continue winning this fight.
Nosotros sabemos que tenemos que comprar, que aquí nada es gratis. Las licencias hay que pagarlas, hay que estudiarlas. Y si tenemos que estudiar y si tenemos que pagar ciertos papeles, yo creo que es mejor pagarlos y estudiarlos, pero tener algo.
Un segundo. As you know, nothing is free in the United States. You always have to pay for something, whatever you need. And if we had to pay for, we had to get these licenses. It's hard to get, but we also had to pay for those licenses. And those licenses, of course, cost money. And if we had to pay for them, we had to do, we don't have other choices.
¿Qué es lo que pedimos? Licencias y permisos.
We're only asking to you, to all of you, to help us to obtain this license and permits so we can sell our items legally.
Por el momento, pues, pedimos mucha ayuda de ustedes para todos los vendedores de todos los condados. Gracias.
Okay. At the moment, I want to ask you for your help, not only to me and to Clotilde, but to all the street vendors or all the counties in New York City that we need your help.
Okay, thank you very much for your testimony. I will make sure that the colleagues know about your request. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker.
She say thank you very much.
Thank you.
这个跟你吗？好的，谢谢大家，谢谢各位朋友。
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, friends.
我也是一个小贩。过去我们很多通过我们议员的努力，让我们的47号方案通过了。
So I'm a vendor myself, and I'm very glad that through the efforts of legislature, the proposal passed. The proposal 47 was passed.
这一切都是我们大家所有人付出行动的成果。
And that's the result of the efforts put out by everyone.
都是大家对我们这些小贩、这些最底层人的民生的帮助关注。
And it shows the help and care of everyone towards the vendors, people who are on the bottom of society.
多少年以后，我们回头看这来时的走过的这一些路，会为此感到骄傲自豪。
And if many years later we look back, I think we would be proud of this accomplishment today.
我们实实在在地做了一些十分重要的、有意义的事情，并且被永久记在法案里。
So I think what we did was something that we should be proud of. That is, as a result, turned into law, memorialized forever.
感谢我们所有努力的议员，所有的我们这些小贩，所有的朋友，给我们掌声。
And thank you for the legislature, all the workers, vendors, and everyone. Please congratulate all ourselves for this. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.但是，sorry。
However,
但是就是在这些天，我们的小贩，依然有很多的困难，整天为了这个生活担惊受怕。
So, however, vendors today still face a lot of hardship, worries, and scares.
受到这个清洁局还有警察的打击。
And picked on by the sanitation and the police department.
刚才我们那个消费者和工人保护部说的，我们的最低工资多少是17块钱，对不对？但是对于我们小贩来说，17块钱就已经是很高了，我们5块钱都很难赚到。
So we just heard that the minimum wage was $17 or $18 for security personnel. To me, as a vendor, that actually sounds like a lot because I struggle to make $5 an hour.
我们只是努力地摆摊赚钱，获取一点食物，但是却像一个小偷罪犯一样受到不公平的对待。
So I am a vendor just to make a living for food, but we are treated as unfairly.
一个国家的强大，不要看它能给强者带来什么，而是要看它能给弱者带来什么。
So don't look at the strong ones in a country, what they got, but look at the weak ones and care about the weak member of the society.
我们小贩需要法案保护，需要公平自由的帮助。
And vendors need protection, a fair law, and fair and free help.
希望各位亲爱的议员们能帮助我们，通过我们接下来关于摊贩的法案。非常感谢大家，非常感谢。
Thank you for your help. Hopefully, to help us with the upcoming relevant legislation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. 谢谢，谢谢。
Okay, and now we are going to hear from Dayton Nesbitt and Christopher Leon Johnson. Okay. Christopher, do you want to begin?
Yeah, I'll
Sure.
go. Ready? Hello, my name is Christopher Leon Johnson. On the record, I used to be a shop steward to BJ at the MTA Eastside Access site from 2017 to 2021. I've been a security guard for 9.5 years until I stopped doing security, and now I'm dealing with the city council, like doing what I do. I think they know what I do in the city council all over the city, media. But I want to show support for Adrian Adams' bill, Intro 1391, because the guards need a real wage in the city. Why are the guards only making minimum wage when they're under the union, and the guards don't even get treated with the respect that they should get? On the job sites, the guards get treated like they're the ones that get accused of everything. They're the ones that's stealing. They're the ones that doing everything inside the building. The guards need a lot of respect in this city. They don't get a lot of respect. I support this. I think that we do need a updated version for active shooter training. I'm calling on the city council to find a way to make it where that guards are able to wear bulletproof vests at the job sites going forward over this. I think that if guards start wearing bulletproof vests on the sites, I mean like a basic bulletproof vest, that this will prevent more alarm etinees on the job site. Another thing I want to say that I do support that the DWCP, we need like a security guard advocate in the DWCP. But I hope that the person that is the advocate is actually a security guard that been a security guard and that has an active security license, and not none of the people that no political cronies. It need to be a real security guard advocating for security guards. But I want to get my last 25 seconds to show, I know that the street vendor project was here today. I'm calling on, like, ending right here, that I'm calling the city council to pass Intro 432. And I'm calling the city council to pass Intro 1332 to protect the deliveristas. So like I said, I support this bill, Intro 1391, and I hope this bill get passed next month. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, my name is Dayton Nesbitt. I work at Rockefeller Center. I am also a shop steward. We come across millions of people every year at my site. This legislation is very important to all security guards, not just in New York City, but all. We put our life on the line every day, right? If you look to your left or you look to your right, who you see in here? You see security, not law enforcement, you see security, right? Our wages are not what it should be for us to live. A lot of us have to work 2 and 3 jobs, you know, or do a lot of overtime just to survive. Whereas if we're getting paid a certain wage and medical benefits, we are able to spend more time with our families. We are at work more than we are with our families. And for us to not be acknowledged for the jobs that we do and all the lives and properties that we protect is unfair. We need better training. We need better safety equipment, just knowledge all across the board for security. It is very, very important that the ones that protect you guys and the city and lives get protection too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our last speaker, I don't know if she's here, I'll just call the name, is Jessica Walker on Zoom. Not here. Okay, if there's anyone here that wanted to speak that didn't get... Oh, we did, yes, we called you. Please come down. We called you in that prior panel. Yes. Great, thank you. And anyone else here who wanted to speak who didn't speak? If so, please fill out a comment card. Thank you.
Okay.
The red light, just make sure to press the button until the red light goes on.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to speak up today. My name is Mahmoud Zaid, and I have been a food vendor since 2008. And 2009, I started my own business since then, and I had to rent a permit to the black market. It's been I have never been able to obtain one under my own name. For years, I have been forced to pay thousands of dollars every 2 years to people who were able to get the permit from the city directly from the city, while they only pay a small fee. This system, it's unfair and it needs to be changed. We need the city to issue more permits and to speed up the processing of getting more permits. If all food vendors able to get permits under their own name, we will be able to reduce the prices of our cost, and also make the food affordable for all New Yorkers. We also need more security for food vendors, because we actually facing from the government now. We actually facing a force from ICE. And also people who work in the government. So we also need more security for all food vendors. So what we need to do, we really need to look at the intro of 431 so we can pass our bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, those are all the speakers for today. So I really want to thank everyone for coming out for this incredibly important hearing. And we are really excited to have these conversations to move forward this bill that will honor Alan's life. So thank you so much for all being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you.